important to look out in this audience and see those that are focused on research, those that are focused on companies that are looking for technology in new ways in the energy field to come together, as well as entrepreneurs that are looking for new ideas to start up, and to have a chance to bring that together and to spend some quality time today talking about this very important topic. It's an honor for me to have a chance to speak to you. Certainly as we draw on the resources of our four-campus University of Missouri system, I want to be sure that we send a message loud and clear that we want to be a great partner from a research standpoint, from a standpoint of bringing all of our know-how together to be sure that we can be an important part of promoting Missouri's energy future. Today provides us a great opportunity to, I think, continue to ask the question for our state and for all of us that are involved in this topic: are we on a steep enough trajectory? Are we on a steep enough trajectory to be sure that as we look back 10 years from now, or 15 years, or 20 years from now, will we look back at this period of time and the toughest of economic challenges, will we look back and find that we made smart choices and smart decisions about Missouri's energy future? Entrepreneur Magazine predicted last year that green power would be one of the 10 recession-proof economic development trends. And I attended a conference in St. Louis a few weeks ago, sponsored by the Brookings Institute, that talked about clean energy and renewable energy being a way to help our cities retrofit what they've been about, and also being an economic engine for our cities. And obviously with older metro areas like St. Louis and Kansas City, what an opportunity we have, a project underway in Kansas City that I'm familiar with, hubbed around UMKC, partnership with Kansas City Power and Light, Great Plains Energy, an opportunity to, again, take advantage of this moment in time to be sure that we are locking in on opportunities to improve our energy efficiency and do that in a way that makes sense for our citizens and provides economic development. It's kind of a lucky strike extra, a pretty good opportunity. We recognize that to be good stewards, there's great potential in this field for energy entrepreneurs, and bringing you together today again gives us a chance to reinforce that. You know, while I'm here, I shouldn't miss the opportunity to be sure that we provide some cultivation for that economic development. Mark Templeton's here from representing the governor's office this morning, but I think there's a few things that we need to be sure that we keep in mind as we make our progress. First, adopt policy and programs that promote economic development around green energy. We can't be generic, we have to be specific. Second, develop the infrastructure and incentives necessary for public and private industry to invest in green economy in Missouri. It's going to be very important as we run down the home stretch in the General Assembly that MOSIRA, Missouri Science Innovation Reinvestment Act, gets momentum and gets to the finish line. That will be the type of opportunity that Missouri needs to provide investment in startups, and particularly startups in the sciences, and particularly startups that can be benefactors from that in the energy and green sector. And finally is to help remove barriers that hinder the development of green energy and green energy sectors. You know, we also, I think, need to consider further leveraging things that are already in place. We were having a conversation in the hallway about what Mizzou Extension, small business, and technology development centers around the state do. They, in fact, are one of those enablers, that catalyst for economic development. We have estimated that we have retained more than 30,000 jobs in the state of Missouri over the past 3 years through the work of that network of small business economic development specialists that are working in more than 30 offices across the state. So while it's good to talk about how do we start up from brand new, it's also important that we pay attention to small businesses in our state that need our help and support, particularly in the difficult, challenging times. These centers have helped more than 330 Missouri companies specializing in green energy technologies, energy efficiency, sustainable energy, retrofitting, and weatherization. So again, 330 companies across our state have gotten some assistance from that, and I think, again, it's very important to keep that in mind. We know that it takes anywhere from 9 to 30 years. I mentioned we've been working on technology between Missouri S&T and Mizzou for 20 years. It's going to be the centering of our Department of Energy proposal. But we know it also takes between 9 to 30 years for new energy technologies to really reach market and reach scale. So you think about where we are today, the investments that need to be made for the future. We're going to have to be patient, but we're also going to have to be vigilant in that regard. The final point I would make is we have to be sure that we take advantage of the bright minds and be sure that they continue to be encouraged about that. So my challenge to all of you as researchers, business development professionals, and experts is to be sure that we attempt to answer the question about how do we take technology that we have already in our labs and in industrial enterprises and turn that innovation, those that's already in flight, turn that into something that can be further developed into sustainable energy fields while generating new revenue streams for the state and for the university. What else do we need to do is the question, and I would ask you to keep that in mind as you're here for the next couple of days. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you all to continue to pay attention to what's going on in Jeff City. Those of you, most of you from the state, it's a very important time. There's very heavy lifting going on right now in our General Assembly and the governor trying to figure out in a challenging economic time, how do we close that budget? I would ask you to continue to remember, though, that higher education is a critical linchpin to not just the current prospects that we have in our state to be an engine for economic growth, to be sure that we provide opportunities and access for students and for our researchers, but for the future. And if we take our eye off the ball and let investment slide across education and higher education, we know that the next generation that's relying on us to have done the right thing during our watch, we may not have the opportunities that we in this room had as we were working our way through Missouri's higher education system. So that, and along with OSIRA, should get our full attention as the General Assembly winds its way down over the next few weeks.